This week, 2 local officials in Cochise County, Arizona, were indicted by a grand jury for their efforts to withhold certification of the 2022 midterm election results in their county. The election deniers were charged with 2 felonies for allegedly conspiring to delay the certification of election results and interfering with the Secretary of State's statewide canvass. Their indictment comes as efforts are being made in Arizona, a state with a long history of disinformation, as efforts are being made to counter disinformation ahead of Election Day 2024. One radio station in Phoenix is doing its part to fight that disinformation, particularly among Latino voters, who make up nearly a quarter of the electorate in the state of Arizona. MSNBC's Paola Ramos has this report.
Radio Campesina is about to record their morning show called Punto de Vista. Today's theme is mis and disinformation, and they'll be dispelling a lot of the themes and narratives that Latino voters are exposed to here.
El día de hoy vamos a platicar acerca de lo que es la desinformación y cómo combatirla.
Nuestra comunidad necesita información correcta.
With the swing state of Arizona up for grabs in the 2024 election, Radio Campesina, a Spanish-language radio network, has emerged as a purveyor of truth amid a landscape filled with misinformation.
Mira, nos mandan esta pregunta. Normalmente la gente tenemos dudas para votar por correo porque dicen que se van a perder las boletas. Ahí está la desinformación.
Ahí está. Me encanta esa pregunta porque les menciono, se puede rastrear su boleta.
The radio station is also an effective mobilizer for a community whose relationship with politics has been strained by the past.
Nos está sintonizando, usted está ahorita en la construcción, está de campesino, tal vez está en un restaurante y usted da cuenta.
The station has been a consistent and trusted messenger for decades, ever since it was founded by labor activist Cesar Chavez in 1983. It was meant to serve as a voice for the Spanish-speaking community, including in Arizona. This state has been home to some of the country's most anti-immigrant policies, from racial profiling by Sheriff Joe Arpaio to the Show Me Your Papers law in 2010 to Senate candidate Kari Lake, who says an invasion is happening at the southern border.
Joe Biden es diferente. Él lucha para que...
The Biden campaign has already launched Spanish-language radio ads on Radio Campesina and other Spanish-language stations in Arizona and Nevada, marking what it says is the earliest ever investment by Democrats in Black and Latino radio for a re-election campaign. So far, the Trump campaign has focused more on the early primary states. They didn't respond to our questions about their plans for Arizona. Misinformation and disillusionment can feed off the deeply rooted mistrust many Latinos feel. And that's why Radio Campesina has taken to connecting with its audience in a unique and traditional way.
It's Saturday night in Phoenix, Arizona, and we're at this rodeo community event that's being hosted by Radio Campesina. But this is so much more than just fun and games. There's a political strategy. This is Radio Campesina's way of building trust with the community.
El día de hoy mi familia Vota vino a registrar nuestra comunidad para que el día de mañana estemos listos para salir a votar.
Radio Campesina knows the way into their community, and it's through outreach events like this.
Here are people that are trying to have fun. They're here for the rodeo, to drink, to be with their families, and yet you all on stage were talking about politics and disinformation. Was that strategic?
Yes, because yes, we are here to celebrate, enjoy a day, but this is the way you do it, by registering to get out to vote and understanding that you cannot allow any misinformation stop you to vote.
We were curious, just how deep does that misinformation and mistrust go?
Muchas personas que están hablando sobre fraude electoral, cuestionando las elecciones del 2020. ¿Usted ha escuchado esas cosas?
Pues que le dan favoritismo a los racistas, que no cuentan el voto hispano. Y pues, quién sabe, ¿verdad?
El presidente Trump dice muchas veces que las elecciones, que él ganó las elecciones. ¿Usted se cree eso?
Pues puede que sí, porque la verdad mucha gente sí lo quiere.
So you still believe that Trump may have won the election? There's a lot of mistrust in the community. I mean, we've been talking to people. There's a lot of different information that they're hearing. Can they trust Radio Campesina?
They trust the brand. We have been there next to them at the front line. They need us more than ever.
With millions of dollars spent courting Latino voters, with countless digital initiatives set up to counter the big lie and drive voter turnout, The answer may lie in the trusted messenger and the voice that has always had the ear of the community.
Joining me now is Paula Ramos, MSNBC contributor and the person who brought us that very compelling field piece on the fight against misinformation in Arizona. Paula, it's great to see you.
Thank you, Alex.
I think this is such essential reporting to understand the spread of disinformation and also the efforts to combat it. So I wonder if you can sort of explain to folks who don't know the broader Spanish language media environment and where Radio Campesina fits into all of that.
So you started with Univision, right? And I think it's very easy to overlook and diminish a small radio station like Radio Campesina within this massive cable news network and environment. But Radio Campesina has a lot of power, right? Still, if you want to win the Latino vote, radio is the key to do it. Why? Because over 90% of Latino adults tune into radio every month. Over 50% of Latinos still believe that radio is the way to sort of remain grounded in their community. And I think radio has something that TV doesn't have, which is this like nostalgic format. Now you can fuse the music with these voices that sound very familiar. And that's the beauty of Radio Campesina. Because they've been this constant and steady voice in the community for years, right? They have been in the voice and in the background of people's homes while Joe Arpaio was doing his thing. During SB 1070. During President Obama's deportations. During Trump's ICE raids. During President Biden's very sort of conflicting immigration agenda. In the midst of all that uncertainty, Radio Campesina was there. And so when you're looking at this very rapidly changing media landscape, when you're looking at a Latino audience that may be signaling to us that they're changing, Radio Campesina is still emerging as this trusted voice, right?
And a critical voice in pushing it back against disinformation, right? This isn't just naked politics. It's actually the truth versus lies. And I wonder if you can contextualize that in terms of Univision, or as I Gringo called it, Univision.
You're not a Gringo.
I'm actually not. But you know what I'm saying. You know, misinformation, disinformation is a real problem. It's not just currying favor with Trump. It's actually putting out bad information there that has a depressing effect on political action, voter registration, a number of things that are critical to the survival of our democracy.
I say this all the time. Like, if we know that mis and disinformation is very bad in English, it's way worse in Spanish, right? It's just we're exposed to it in higher rates. And also because the monitoring and the mechanisms behind it aren't there in Spanish the way that they are in English. But I think what we try to tell in the story is this idea that, you know, mis and disinformation among Latinas doesn't happen in a vacuum, right? The big lie doesn't happen in a vacuum. The big lie sort of feeds off this really deeply rooted mistrust that a lot of Latinos are carrying with them. It feeds off this generational trauma that Latinos have been faced with for years, right? The way that trauma has saw Joe Arpaio and the racial profiling, the way that trauma has seen politicians on both sides of the aisle make a lot of promises that don't ever happen, the way that trauma has seen Joe Biden in 2020 pledge that he wouldn't build the wall, and certainly now the wall is going up. And so that trauma and that dis and misinformation can create the current environment that we're in, where there's apathy, and that's what we found in Arizona, where there's uncertainty, where there's disenchantment. And so I think that is the biggest question and challenge that Joe Biden is up against, which is how do you sustain that hope that he was able to sort of garner among Arizona Latinos in 2020, becoming the first Democratic president to win that state since 1996. How do you sustain that credibility?
Well, yeah, and that's, I mean, I have to ask you, because we're talking about credibility and we're talking about Joe Biden and the challenges he faces, I have to ask you about Univision, where your father is legendary journalist Jorge Ramos. He came out with a statement, I think this was yesterday, speaking of his, broadly, but I think pointedly, to Univision, actually. We cannot normalize behavior that threatens democracy and the Hispanic community, or offer Trump an open microphone to broadcast his falsehoods and conspiracy theories. Can you offer us any insight into what this is like for a truth seeker and truth teller like Jorge Ramos in a moment of seismic change at a network he helped build?
I mean, I think my father has always told me since day one, the biggest role we have as journalists is to question power and authority. You know, in the face of someone like Trump, you question him. And I think what Univision is doing and what Radio Campesina is doing, I think that shows you the sort of moral question that a lot of these media stations are wrestling with.
Yes.
Which is, do you cave into Trumpism and do you give them a platform because you believe that that's what Latinos want?
And access to power. I mean, that's very
and that's what it's
attractive.
About. And I think that's what Univision is doing. They're betting on this idea that Trump will win. With that comes power and access. And they're also betting, and I think that's the interesting question, they're betting on a Latino audience that may be changing, that may be telling us that, you know what, we may need a more conservative point of view. And it may fail or not, but what it certainly does fail is journalism.
Yes. The fourth estate and truth writ large.
Yeah.
Let me ask you in terms of how, for example, Democrats, Joe Biden, people interested in the truth combat this, right? It seems to me that authenticity, being sort of native to the environment, which is like Radio Campesina has been there for a long time. It seems like the interlocutors here have to be already known entities to these communities.
You're right. You need to find a trusted voice, and I'll give you a very quick example. It was so crystal clear to me during COVID-19 because I remember I asked a Latina voter a question. This was a voter that didn't believe in the vaccines, didn't believe in masks, and I said, but why don't you trust Dr. Fauci? And she said, ¿Quién es Dr. Fauci? Who is Dr. Fauci?
Right.
And it was because we weren't reaching her. No, it was because there wasn't the Spanish version of Dr. Fauci. And so it goes back to who is that trusted messenger? It may not be Joe Biden, but it may be people within stations like Radio Campesina.
Well, it's great to know that they are out there doing the work and that you are covering it, my friend.
We're trying.
Such essential reporting. Paula Ramos, thank you. Please come back all the time.
Thank you so much.